It's a universal hope that all animals could thrive in their natural habitats, safe from harm. However, the reality often falls short of this ideal. Human activity has encroached upon animal territories, leading to unfortunate consequences. Such is the backdrop of today's story. This tale revolves around a man who saved a lion cub and the remarkable turn of events that unfolded years later. When Adrian journeyed to Africa, his purpose was to conduct research on animals and immerse himself in their world. Numerous research centers, sanctuaries, and game parks in the region strive to recreate natural environments for their animals. These facilities boast expansive enclosures and habitats that provide animals with a semblance of their native surroundings, while ensuring safety for both the animals and human visitors. Conversely, there are still areas where wild animals roam freely. Although witnessing such wildlife is awe-inspiring, it presents challenges. Many of these regions are also home to farmers whose livelihoods depend on livestock. These animals are valuable assets, and farmers make every effort to care for them. Unfortunately, wild predators like lions pose a threat to these livestock. Lions, by nature, hunt for deer and other game, but domesticated animals become easy prey in their presence. The coexistence of farmers and wild predators can be problematic, leading some to resort to lethal measures to protect their livestock. These actions result in the loss of these magnificent creatures, solely because they follow their natural instincts. During his time in Africa, Adrian collaborated with a lion and cheetah sanctuary, committed to educating farmers on alternative approaches for dealing with these predators. They urged farmers to capture rather than harm the animals, allowing the rescue team to relocate them. Initially, establishing trust between the sanctuary and farmers proved challenging. Some animals were lost as farmers were skeptical that these methods would solve the problem. However, over time, trust was cultivated, and more farmers became willing to cooperate with the rescue center. In one such instance, a farmer reached out to the rescue center, informing them of captured lion cubs that needed immediate retrieval. Adrian and fellow rescuers promptly embarked on a mission to rescue the cubs, finding them confined in a cage and in poor condition. When they inquired about the mother, they were told she would no longer be a concern. Despite the frustration and sorrow, their focus remained on saving the cubs. The rescued cubs were transported to the sanctuary and placed in a clean, dry enclosure, receiving proper care and nourishment. While the hope was to prepare them for future release into the wild, one cub, Leo, struggled to thrive. Despite the efforts, Leo continued to lose weight, showing no interest in food, even after being separated during meals, suspecting that his siblings might be taking his share. Leo had arrived at the sanctuary already emaciated, and his condition deteriorated daily. Faced with a tough decision, the sanctuary team knew that intervention would mean Leo could never return to the wild, but doing nothing would result in him not surviving long enough to return to the wild anyway. The choice was clear: give Leo the best life possible at the sanctuary, and ensure he had a chance of life. It was a challenging but ultimately compassionate decision they had to make. Adrian took on the responsibility of caring for Leo, the young lion cub, with dedication and love. Although Leo was at an age to eat meat, his frailty required additional bottle feedings to regain his strength. Beyond nourishment, Leo needed plenty of affection to nurse him back to health. Lions are pack animals, and even though he was temporarily without a pride, Leo needed the love and companionship that his kindred provided. For Adrian, it felt like he had a new baby, albeit one that would grow into a massive predator. He spent countless hours playing with Leo and taking him on leisurely walks within the sanctuary. They even allowed many of the farm's dogs to interact with Leo. While it might seem unusual for dogs to play with lions, young cubs can form strong bonds with dogs, especially when they are too young to pose any harm. It was akin to having canine companions who acted as protective nannies, ensuring the young lions felt secure. Gradually, Leo began to show signs of improvement. He grew bolder, exhibiting excitement upon seeing Adrian. He started to play more actively, pouncing and displaying the behaviors of a real lion. Furthermore, he was growing rapidly and outgrew his accommodations within Adrian's modest abode. Leo required more space and the opportunity to reintegrate into a pride. At the sanctuary, there was a group of lions that, for various reasons, could not be released into the wild. The sanctuary team introduced Leo to this pride in a cautious manner. Initially, they placed him in an enclosure adjacent to theirs, allowing the lions to interact, see, and smell one another without Leo being in harm's way. They monitored the interactions closely, ensuring there were no signs of aggression. As trust grew, Leo was eventually permitted to interact directly with the pride. He quickly formed bonds, and they even allowed him to stay with the pride overnight. While Adrian missed having him constantly by his side, he was elated to see Leo become part of a lion family. Interaction remained a significant part of their routine, with Adrian feeding and caring for the pride. The other rescued cubs, Leo's siblings, were also thriving and eventually deemed ready for release into a game park where they could experience the freedom of the wild. All the cubs had found their own version of a happy ending. However, Adrian's time in Africa was drawing to a close. His work visa was expiring, and the program he was part of had reached its conclusion. It was time to return home. Adrian packed his bags, preparing for his flight, and bid farewell to his friends, including his beloved Leo. He took Leo for a final, long walk, and then returned him to his enclosure. As tears streamed down his face, Adrian watched Leo happily engage with his fellow lions, unaware that it would be a while before they would see each other again. Adrian returned home and began working at a zoo, putting his knowledge and experience with big cats to use, ensuring the animals received the best possible care. While the work was fulfilling, Adrian couldn't help but long for Africa. After 2 years, he finally had the opportunity to return. How would the animals, especially Leo, react to his homecoming? Adrian's friends were overjoyed, and as he approached the lion enclosure, one massive lion ran toward him. Then, something heartwarming occurred. Leo extended his paws through the enclosure and embraced Adrian, placing his head between Adrian's face, as if giving him a hug. The lion recognized that the man who had saved him was back home. It was a poignant reunion that touched the hearts of all who witnessed it. Thank you for watching.